In this episode, we're going to get back on the long-awaited and much asked for Project Vulcan. When we left off last time on Project Vulcan, I had a few things that I had to wrap up, like closing in this other open frame section and moving the little bushings in the eyelets from the factory shocks to our new RFI shocks. I did that. Still have to close up the frame. Well, that's where we're going to start. Now I've got our plate welded in, top, bottom, and side. Just need to get the inside. What I'll have to do to get to the inside is put the jack under the frame of the bike, lift it up, and take the shocks off. I already got this one off, but the other side off. Lift it up enough that I can get the torch in there and weld that shut. And I'll come back and kind of feather everything, and we'll fill this gap in, kind of transition that real nice. But we can do that later. What I want to do now is figure out how we're going to attach the seat hump to the seat so that it's removable. So I think the solution that I'm going to try is to come up with a good fastener for this hump, but I don't want some bulky hardware hanging off of it. I don't want you to have to carry around a tool either. Yeah, that's garbage. So I wanted something that you could remove that would be toolless and clean, small, and not crazy. We're not doing some crazy latch or something like that. So let me show you what I came up with, and fingers crossed it works. Alright, so this is what I've come up with. So checks off two of the boxes. It's small, pretty much flat, and it's out of the way. It's not big and bulky. It's really clean, and because it's got that handle on it, you lift it up and you should be able to take it off. And if for whatever reason corrosion or something gets in the way, or it's bound up, you just slide a penny, nickel, dime, quarter, whatever into this and back it out. So that's the hardware part taken care of. Now, how are we going to get this to hook into the frame of the bike? Where the seat hump attaches is just a piece of tubing, right? Well, I don't trust the thickness of the tubing enough to just drill a hole and thread it 1/4 Plus we've got this little, let's see if it'll focus, kind of dead zone from the head of the bolt to the threads. So I'm worried that if we thread it all the way in, it's just going to kind of go past the threads and just kind of wobble around. So the best way I could think of to add threads to the tube without actually threading the tube itself is with a threaded rivet, or rib nut, whatever you want to call them. And pick this up at the local Harbor Freight. It's a little kit. It's got a bunch of different sizes. But before I go and drill into the bike and test this, I want to test it on something else and not ruin the bike. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of 1-inch tubing left over from the seat hoop, and I'm going to drill the hole in it for this to drop in, use the tool that came in the kit, crimp it, and make sure it works on a round surface. I know it'll work on a flat surface, but I'm not so sure about a tube. So let's get that. So I took our tube and centered and drilled the hole, which is right at 11/32 for this size rim nut. Nice solid fit. So now all I need to do is use the tool to crimp it down, make sure it holds tight, and fingers crossed. It's in there more solid than I thought it would be. Now that we know our little test worked, what I need to do is mark where we're going to put those rib nuts and make sure they're equal on both sides and centered on the tube, and the seat hump is in the right spot. And then I'll mark it, and we'll punch the tube, do a center drill, and then drill to 11-30 seconds. And let's do it. We got our threaded inserts in, holes drilled in the seat hump, and our 1/4-20 little fasteners in place. Holds it nice and solid. It doesn't rock much. Cool. Well, that's a big stepping stone for this project. Gonna fasten the seat down with the hardware that came with it. Did order a battery for Project Vulcan, but with the coronavirus pandemic thing, batteries are not really, at least motorcycle batteries are not a top priority to ship right now. So it's been a couple weeks. Hopefully get that soon. Started bending up a way to hold the battery. Put an extra strap under the seat, so we'll have some sort of little hinge mechanism to hold the battery in place. And it will be a small anti-gravity battery, so that it'll tuck up in there. We won't see it. Be nice and tight, compact. But let's have a little real talk session about Project Vulcan. While it's been sitting here, just chilling on the table, I've been kind of looking it over, and there are a couple things that bother me about this project so far. One, the dual carbs. I hate how they're in there. I don't like how it looks when you put the pod filters on. I don't like the dual throttle cable linkage crap. If it were two separate carbs, okay, sure. But these two are Siamese together, and they share a body. And to work on them is a huge pain in the butt. So we're going to ditch those. We're going to go with one bigger Mikuni, I believe, or maybe a carb from a 883 Sportster, somewhere along those lines. That'll clean up the handlebars, and that'll get rid of that double cable. It'll clean up the center of the bike, and we will have a bunch of different options as far as air filters go. So we'll take care of that. The second thing that's really bothering me about this bike is the clutch. It's got a cable clutch, which would work, but I'm trying to clean this thing up and kind of minimize all the garbage on it. I think we'll have to try it and see, of course, but I think I can get rid of the cable and use a master cylinder, slave cylinder setup and kind of convert it to a hydraulic actuated clutch. I'll keep you guys posted on that. And see, there was something else about this. And yeah, I want to ride it first. And I know a lot of you are kind of concerned about the foot position, but I want to get it together and ride it first and see how good or bad it really is. And if need be, we'll scoot them back. But the other problem I have is this tank. Depending on the angle, it looks good, but it's more of a cruiser shape. It's really wide. So yeah, look, drop me some comments, maybe some suggestions on what you think I should do with the tank. We lifted the front of it and kind of changed its position a little bit, which really helped the aesthetic and the lines of the bike. because once everything's bolted down, now it's a straight line all the way across the bottom of the tank, bottom of the seat, the frame section, all nice and flat, like you really want for a cafe racer style bike. I don't know if it really fits, so yeah, drop a comment down below and let me know what you think, any suggestions or whatever. But remember, if you think we should go for a different tank, the way this frame is, it's not a single tube, so we're gonna have to do something custom no matter what it is, unless it's from another Kawasaki or a bike that's got a large frame up top. And finally, the last thing that bothers me, and I just despise how it looks, is the exhaust on this bike. The way it's set up, the front cylinder exits on the right side of the bike. The rear cylinder exits on the left side of the bike. They come down, there's a crossover kind of situation under the swing arm, and then it comes out, and the two pipes. And again, it's that cruiser style, and I don't want that. So what I'm thinking is have the front, since it exits on the right side, kind of come down towards the center of the crankcase. The rear cylinder, it comes out on the left, have it come down to the center of the crankcase, converge, maybe even do some oval shaped piping to keep our ground clearance, have them converge, maybe an X pipe, and then two small canisters just outside and below the swing arm. Completely custom. We might have to even make our own mufflers. Who knows? But that's what I'm thinking. So the next time we see Project Vulcan, which will hopefully be soon if I can get some parts delivered, you'll see the carbs off, the clutch cable and everything off, the double throttle cables off, the choke assembly out of the way, the exhaust will be off, and I'll be taking a look at the comments you guys leave about the tank. And if you've got any other suggestions or anything, definitely drop me a comment. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Oh, another thing, the front forks. We went with the gold anodized rear shocks, which look really sharp, but there's no other gold anywhere. So what I'm thinking is, if you guys want to see it, I'll definitely try it. Stripping the front forks down again, sandblasting them in an attempt, but they are aluminum, and sandblasting them and anodizing them to match the gold on these shocks. What do you guys think of that? I think that would look pretty sweet. And it kind of gives us more of a modern sport bike kind of feel with that gold anodizing too, I think. So, yeah. Back on the Vulcan, and I promise it won't be months before we have another Vulcan episode. Real short, didn't do a whole lot, but we're kind of at that tipping point where I need some feedback from you guys, and we need to make some decisions on which way we go on this bike. So that's going to be it for this one, and until next time, guys, get out there and do it.